Well, thank you everyone for agreeing to meet with us on Zoom today. My name is Chris Ringo, and this would have been our third summer here at the house that we bought on Secord, and so I haven't had the opportunity to meet very many of you yet, and I'm looking forward to that. I have to admit that I was not paying attention to Four Lakes Task Force until this happened, and it was right after the floods, as I'm sure you all recall, until they said they were dropping out of this purchase agreement that they had. And when they announced that they were backing out, I was very concerned. My first question was, where does that leave Secord? As we had just had our water drawn down, and felt sort of like lost there. So then my next question was, what is Four Lakes Task Force? And I was wondering, how is it that they have the ability to operate as a special assessment district when they are a private entity, well, not for profit? And I'm a township auditor and a CPA and a forensic accountant, and so it's kind of natural for me to start that digging. And immediately I recognized that they were not a regular special assessment district under a government authority, but rather a unique type of business, a special business special assessment district, having delegated authority, yes, by the counties, but it's not exactly the same thing in every way as a regular special assessment district that we see under government authority. So Four Lakes Task Force is a directorship. It is not for profit and can pretty much, I think, do whatever it would like to do. And they're not, so a local government is reportable and accountable to the state. They are extremely transparent to the citizens. And this I saw was a little bit different. And so this particular slide here does kind of outline for you, and you might need to remove if you have people that you're seeing on the screen there, you can change that in Zoom. So there are many what I would call normal special assessment districts in the state of Michigan, and those are often under a township, a city, or a county. And these normal SADs are created by the petition of the people. And I'm sure you all noticed that wasn't something that we went through. That's a process, and you can see that on this slide, that is a little involved, but it's there for a reason. So unlike FLTF, a government type SAD is under a local unit of government. And because of that, there are many rules it must follow. And like I said earlier, just about 100% transparency. And there can't be cost that is paid for by a specific district without benefit. Okay, so if you have cost by way of assessment, there needs to be a direct benefit to those being assessed. So from what I can see is it appears, and this could happen, that Secord could soon be experiencing paying assessments for a cost that does not benefit Secord, but rather to fund the unfortunate events of May, the Southern Dam repairs. So within a day or so of the flood, a number of class action lawsuits dropped, and including a few against FLTF. I was alarmed because even if they would be successful in settling those lawsuits, they would be paying to defend themselves. And that's very costly. And so doing that, those legal costs, I was immediately questioning, would those be passed down to Secord in assessments? And as I said, given the type of SAD FLTF is, that's a real possibility, and that alarmed me further. assessment costs to a district must benefit that district, as I hope you can see here on my slide. So it occurred to me that Secord Lake property owners would be much better served by a Secord Lake only SAD, special assessment district, that would be devoted to just Secord issues. So at this point, I met Secord resident Michelle Hardy. Wave, Michelle, if anyone can see you. We kind of got together, and she contributed her time, and together we pursued this. And we decided I would call attorneys that I know, that I work with, and some of my township clients in the South, down where I live, and further south. So an attorney that I work with who specializes in setting up special assessment districts under local government graciously offered to consult with me at no charge. And as we wanted to explore unwinding Secord from Four Lakes Task Force, she was kind enough to invite a very brilliant public finance attorney from a large Detroit firm in on the conference call, who was very knowledgeable knew a lot about Four Lakes Task Force, actually did a little bit of research too, I think, before he joined that call. And that was on June 11th. And he explained the following. Four Lakes Task Force was able to form as a SAD. When I say SAD, I mean Special Assessment District, under a very arcane Michigan statute pertaining to lake levels with Midland County Circuit Court. So in order for Secord to unwind from FLTF, we would need permission of both Midland and Gladwin counties, and we would need a county lake level proceeding in county court, and which would probably result in litigation in Midland County, in order for us from that circuit court. So chances are we would need to be prepared, of course, to also appeal that. He stated this could be very difficult, especially if Gladwin County did not support it. He did state that the counties are better equipped to have a special assessment district under them, which is something I'd already known. And Gladwin County Drain Commission is the customary place for our dam special assessment district. In fact, Gladwin County Drain Commission currently does have the Chapel Dam SAD under them. So we would have to request being released from the district first, FLTF, and we would request that from our county. Then we would have to go through Midland Circuit Court, and then we would be able to hopefully form our own Secord only special assessment district, which I believe very strongly is in our best interest. We would have to request, when we heard all of this, Michelle and I, we got on the phone and we go, no. I mean, we became very discouraged at that point, and decided that the two of us couldn't afford to finance that. So the public finance attorney that we spoke with, he also had stated, to do any of those, of course, needed political will. We gave up completely. We gave up completely for a few weeks. Then after FLTF stated that it would cost $220 million to repair the dams, and that Secord may not be up for 4 years, well, those statements propelled us to continue to move forward because we just couldn't believe it. I ran the numbers on that, even after subtracting whatever financing and funding they could possibly get. So during this time, we discovered that FLTF, since they are a not-for-profit and not a true government authority, they are limited in the type of financing that they would be able to obtain. We also read the complaints, the lawsuits that were filed against them, and studied the expenses. And of course, those are all allegations, and they would have to be proved in court. And in those complaints, there were indications of money spent excessively and vendors overpriced. That, of course, concerns me as a forensic accountant, but I have not done an investigation of anything, so I can't make any statement on that. And then I just kind of wanted to show you what 220 million would look like as an assessment to Secord, and I'm hoping you can see all of this. So I'm just subtracting a few, like I'm being very liberal here in subtracting from the 220 million grants, federal grants. Now we could possibly get donations, leaving say a balance of 197,000. There's maybe 8,500 properties. That's 23,176. So if we divide that by 4 years, because that's how long they say before we get our water back, that's $5,700. Well, if we divided that by 10, that's 2,300. So we both stepped back and we said, we can't pay for that. But we are stuck paying for it because we are responsible. We are in this special assessment district. There currently isn't any, I think they split it evenly or based on lakefront property footage. So that, as far as I know, would be unchanged. So it's very alarming to me. So if they are minimally, as you can see, successful in obtaining federal and state grants, raising donations from Dow and others as they have shown they are able to do, and as the slide shows, there's approximately 8,500 in here, and I just can't make these numbers work. So on June 19th, I understood the inspections were completed because we have been checking on the FERC website. And although the reports had not been submitted, I researched and dug up and found Lee Mueller's email address. So I sent him an email on that day, and it's the first time I'd ever contacted him. And I received an email back, which I shared on Facebook, and so many of you have seen it, stating that Lee had said that the report that FERC expects to receive and review will be submitted by the end of the month. And I have that report here, and it was. And it was unclear how long FERC will take to review the report for Secord. However, it's already understood that there is no reason not to let Secord resume normal reservoir levels and hydroelectric operations. So I had at the same time, that same day, I had sent an email to Four Lakes Task Force. And let's contrast the above statement from the dam owner who had, who was privy to the inspections to my inquiry with Four Lakes Task Force, where they said, well, we're expecting it to take up to 4 years for inspections and repairs to be completed on Secord Dam and for the lake to be restored. And until those tasks are complete, Secord Dam will not resume operations. All of us are very confused about those two statements. So why? I assume since they're not the dam owner, then I just made this assumption, and I don't know if they were privy to the inspections, I have no idea. That unlike the dam owner, perhaps they did not have access to those inspection results. So then why are they keeping our water out for possibly 4 years? I mean, and is that just an arbitrary number, or do they just like the number 4? Four Lakes Task Force likes the number 4. I don't understand what the 4 was. So now I've heard many of you say it, well, they're holding, Secord's hostage to pay for Sanford Dam repairs in Edenville. Well, if they are, and I need to back up a little bit here because there is a resolution now with Gladwin County, and I haven't looked at it, but probably Midland County as well, condemning all 4 dams. And in addition to that, it's all Boyce properties, I believe. As I read it, it was a very long list of properties. And so that is a resolution that has been adopted and signed by Gladwin County, and I'm assuming the same by Midland for the Midland properties. So if they're successful in condemning Secord Dam, and if we have control, and if they have control of our water, and then for arbitrary reasons, they won't refill until we have paid in and cooperated with their assessments, then what recourse do we possibly have? I'm going to jump to that in a second, but at this point, I thought, Michelle and I talked, and I thought, well, you know, let's start local, because Secord Township is really the best place, one of the best places for us to home our special assessment district, Secord. So I decided to present a proposal to Gladwin County Commissioner Joel Verner. We suspected that he might have a conflict because we already knew that he serves on the Four Lakes Task Force as a board member and is our representative to FLTF, along with Bill Nast of Secord Lake Association. So in addition, Joel is running for Secord Township Supervisor. So who better to present a proposal for Secord to have its own special assessment district. Now that proposal that I submitted included reasons that I believe Secord should be unwound out of FLTF, and that it should establish for Secord only needs its own SAD under Secord Township. It included the goal of assessing Secord only for repairs that go to Secord Lake Dam in particular. At that time, the most immediate objection was to assess Secord over a period of time to accumulate the money necessary to construct the auxiliary spillway that is required by FERC. And I believe there is a plan that has been accepted by FERC for that. In addition, the proposal included an arrangement that we would have with Boyce Hydro, where we would lease the dam, because at this particular point, we are not very knowledgeable about dam operations, but daily we all learn more. And that we, with the eventual option to purchase the dam and Secord Lake. So that proposal was rejected within just a few days by Joel, with the reason stated by Mr. Combs, we are gonna stick with Four Lakes Task Force. And I didn't get any other information on that. So at this point, Michelle and I gave up again. I said, okay, there's nothing we can do. So we gave up for, I don't know, a day and a half. And then this came out in the paper. And this was like the next week. So it's just dragging us back in. It was an article that came out, and this is just a part of it, regarding the $900,000 that Four Lakes Task Force tried to negotiate out of, in order to settle the Boyce State of Michigan Mussels lawsuit by assessing us for that. Did you know that at the time? This is back in January. Now, you may have known it. I didn't know it. I've asked a number of people, and people said, no, they didn't tell us that they were negotiating. They were planning to assess us, the entire district, for settling this. Now, you can see here that the state may know better. They said, no, you cannot assess anyone. You can't assess a district the financial burden of resolving this particular lawsuit. They had their reasons for trying to get out of this. It had to do with their own financing for the purchase. And that doesn't have anything to do with this particular conversation, but the fact is, this gives me pause. Because if they can try to do this and not operate like a normal SAD and have the Secord cost, in the case of Four Lakes Task Force, in this case, does not equal Secord Lake benefit. So cost must equal benefit in these. They have to. It's required to in a normal special assessment district. So you can see what we're proposing, Secord Lake Special Assessment District, where any Secord assessment cost is going to equal Secord Lake District benefit. So, I mean, as sad and unfortunate as it is, we are proposing that we are not to pay for the southern dams, those repairs, because we have to worry about ourselves first. So just to, just once again, this one thing is to me the best example of inequity of an assessment district under FLTF, because it was to settle a lawsuit that had nothing to do with Secord. It had to do with their financing. is my understanding, and that's what it says in the newspaper. And there was no cost. There was a cost, but there was no direct benefit to Secord. Just the fact that FLTF tried to do this just, brings home the ability of them to have this inequity in charging us and assessing us in the future. And yes, we don't have those assessments yet, but I'm just trying to be prepared for what those assessments could do and what they could look like. So, normal assessment districts under a true government authority are required to support the assessment costs. And I've said this again and again, and it certainly appears to me that they're not following the procedures that others do in the state of Michigan. And is it because FLTF is not a true government authority? I don't know. But they don't, at this point, seem to be providing the transparency that we want. So my new proposal now that I have not yet submitted, but I'm going to leave it up to this group, is to create a Secord-only special assessment district under Gladwin County Drain Commission. So I'm back to what that public finance attorney had recommended. I'm going to go back to that slide. We would vote for this special assessment district, and I could probably go back to here and you can see what that process is. We would vote for it. And that's what happens, because under a special assessment district, you have a petition and you vote. And so it has to be greater than 50% of our district. So we have 2019. So it has to be greater than 50%. And even if it was, people still have the ability to go in and object to it and file written objections. So there's a, straight, very clear process to that. My current proposal to Gladwin County Commissioners is the same as the old proposal, and it also includes an option to purchase the dam and lake Secord from Boyce Hydro. But things are moving really fast right now. Just since I wrote that proposal to Gladwin County and started writing that, there was that resolution that was drafted by Four Lakes Task Force for Four Lakes Task Force to condemn Secord Lake and Dam. So now that condemnation was commenced by Four Lakes Task Force, and we have to move rapidly to get unwound from Four Lakes Task Force and give serious consideration to a purchase of our dam and lake. If we do nothing, then are we facing, years of, close to thousands of dollars per year on our homes for 4 years or more? And we will have to pay those while we have no water. I don't know. That's how it looks to me right now. So it's inequitable that we pay such large assessments when our dam needs perhaps only $1.5 million in repairs for that auxiliary spillway. It could be the only way out of this is to purchase the dam and lake directly as soon as possible, and an offer to purchase and maintain that may eliminate, the condemnation of our dam. So this is part of what I'm still proposing. This is actually what I learned. I learned when a FLTF member called me and told me that FLTF was concerned the condemnation judge would think that the proposal I gave Joel was an offer to purchase. And I thought, I'm not purchasing a dam. But then when I thought about it, I go, well, I'm thinking to myself, no. But then I thought, well, actually, yes, it is, because we have on your behalf submitted that proposal, and that's only a proposal. So it's not a contract at this point. So if we come together and we decide that we want to control what happens with Secord Dam, with our dam, our lake, then we must contact each other and discuss and contact every Gladwin County commissioner and ask them to consider, ask them to help us find a way out, and tell them that we wish to unwind from Four Lakes Task Force and we do not want our money going to other dams for which there is no benefit to Secord. We do not want to be roped in with the southern dams any longer. And we have a right to take care of our own dam and lake, in my opinion. So we have now set up a website, and we would like to thank Danielle Hall. She is the founder and marketing specialist of Bloom Marketing and Secord Lake property owner. We're so fortunate to have you, Danielle. Thank you so much. And we're still working on it, but there's a page there for contact information and there's also a page there for contacts of the county commissioners. So you could submit, there is a place there where you can submit questions to us. I personally went ahead and created the Secord Lake Preservation Association for a number of purposes in this pursuit. It's something that needs to get us off the ground and going. The organization, which is unlike Four Lakes Task Force, is a membership organization. Eventually, my hope is that the preservation will end up under the Gladwin County Drain Commission, and in the event that the Secord Lake community decides to unwind from Four Lakes Task Force and take control of your own dam and lake, the preservation is in place in the event that the county is not willing to accept our SAD under the Drain Commission. We have the option of forming together as a community and contributing to the preservation, lending our own money to the preservation to raise the money for the purchase of our dam and lake if we so choose. Then in the future, when the process to unwind has been completed and we find a home, so to speak, under the Gladwin County Drain Commission, that will allow us to seek possible municipal bond financing, federal and state grants, to repay the loans to the community that they lent to the organization for the purchase, and however long that takes. So when the dam and the lake are a true special assessment district under government authority, then they will have complete transparency to Secord, to this district. I wanted to show you what you can do, okay? So you can talk to your Secord neighbors. Do this by phone. Do this in person with social distancing. Don't use Facebook, okay? Now, Facebook was great for us to get to this point, but let's not put anything else on Facebook. Let's not have communications in Facebook. You can, do your messaging back and forth and use it for that, but I think it's really time that we organize. Reach out to your county commissioners and volunteer to help them resolve this issue. Ask for their support in a resolution to unwind Secord Lake out of Four Lakes Task Force. Explain that you are not willing to pay for the southern dams. I know it sounds mean, but we're not willing to do it. It's really not our responsibility. We have to worry about ourselves. Tell them that you support our proposal, that we'll finish. It is done, but I'm sure I would like to have other input from it on it before we do a formal presentation. To them for establishing a special assessment district under the Drain Commission, and for the lease and purchase of Secord Dam. We need to accumulate the additional questions that we need to answer to proceed. We need to, most importantly, identify leaders here among Secord property owners. Now, I've only been here 2 years, so I don't know anyone. You guys know people. You know who those people are who are willing to volunteer and be leaders. And see this issue through. And I hear, and I can tell there are quite a few people out there who can take this lead. So the organization needs a board of leaders, and we can put that together soon. You can nominate one another. But people are willing to fight for Secord. So stepping forward with an offer to contribute to the organization just to fund postage and legal fees and other expenses would be very helpful. That's what I have on that. And what I'm going to do right now is, before we finish, we're going to do two things. We're going to have Michelle do a presentation. I would like for you to hear a little bit about the effect on Gladwin County and the local economy. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle Hardy. We will unmute you here. We have to find you alphabetically, and we have to go through 300 people. It's going to take a minute. And where are you, Michelle? down. There she is.
There you go. Can everybody hear me?
I think they can, because we can.
Good. All right. So I just lost y'all, but I'm going to put my presentation up here and read from what I wrote so I don't get off and segue into something I shouldn't. So first of all, I'd like to thank Chris. Your knowledge, your tenacity, your research, and your selfless hours of dedication to find an alternative option for Secord Lake owners is truly appreciated and invaluable. She really has done most of the work, even though she keeps including me, as gracious as that is. I know there is a lot of work ahead, but if this community of Secord Lake property owners is successful, it will maintain our lake living and support the Gladwin County community for years. My family has enjoyed the Secord Lake area since the late 60s. We have so many great memories as kids playing on this lake and continue to make those memories with our kids and grandkids. So waiting 4 years for a lake to come back will have consequences to our community. Secord Lake is not only enjoyed by our weekenders and their guests, it is home to those who chose to retire here and for families who work in the area. We have all something in common. We invested our savings into this area and we spend our hard-earned money in the community. We support 4+ marinas, 3+ convenience stores near the lake. We support builders, contractors, small businesses, real estate professionals, and our homes provide a large tax base for this county. I have already noticed, and you may have as well, less traffic and visitors around the lake over the last few weekends. In 4 more years, without a lake, we will see economic damage as well as damage to the lake's ecosystem that we have enjoyed over the years. Additionally, our county cannot afford to lose the tax revenues generated by Secord Lake property owners. Our summer tax bill indicated that we are charged 30.33 mils on the value of our property. This is a large percentage of funds the county and school system rely on. We are not Midland County. We don't have a Dow or a large medical center that employs 11,000 people and other large businesses that provide a substantial tax base for the local government to work under. Gladwin County is made up of, Gladwin County is made up of small businesses with some in audio, automobile industry. We have some other industries. We have farmers and we have tourism. Our population represents 30% of that of Midland County. Gladwin's median home income is $20,000 less per household than Midland's community. And we have 14% of our residents that live below the poverty line. Our county commissioners should understand this, and our township leaders as well. We need to put Secord Lake first. We are faced with a fast shrinking real estate value, and this will cut the tax revenues for services to so many who depend on it. There will be unemployment. There will be real estate values that mirror 2009 through 2015. Our real estate professionals had a very tough time. Our marina, Scott and Kim Gratup, have been in this community since they were babies. I know, because I know their parents. As Chris indicated, we will need our county's leadership support, and we will gain this through each of you letting your voices be heard. Also by your volunteering of your skills where we need it, and assist with some immediate financial needs so that we can cover some costs of attorney fees and postage for letters we have to send out, we cannot hand to you. So we will provide additional information on that, but our new hashtag is Secord Dam Strong. I'll turn this back over to Chris.
Thank you, Michelle. So bringing 2 lakes back up is necessary for the benefit of the economy of Gladwin County immediately. We do need to lead the way for Smallwood as well. And I believe that we have honored a few Smallwood, and if I'd known there were more Zoom invites here, I would have honored them as well. So we are waiting, while we're waiting for Four Lakes Task Force to finish Sanford and then Wixom, that will be years. We can't do that. And it'll devastate us. It will devastate our economy. So if we establish a SAD, in 2 years, we should be able to raise enough money to pay for that spillway that is required by FERC. If we decide to purchase the dam, we should be able to issue bonds to finance the purchase when we are a special assessment district. However, it is more likely that we have to have a campaign now within the community to obtain donations and loans. And those loans can be, well, it doesn't matter how small it is. They will all have promissory notes, I promise you, and they can either be repaid when we are a true special assessment district and can assess and get grants, and or you can apply them towards your future assessments. Because I think a straight out of purchase might be necessary, but also in addition, like I said, we are looking for leaders. We're looking for people. We have been interviewing. We've been fortunate to have a great deal of free legal advice, but we're getting to the point we need to hire a law firm to represent us. And if anybody has recommendations or have already done this, talking to your attorneys, we need to hear about that. We need to hear from you. We need volunteers. If you want to donate, I'm going to show you back here. Jordan, I want to go back to share screen, which is right here. This is where I was. Okay, and what I want to show you here. Okay, guys, I've only done Zoom like when I had to for my grandkids when this started. Yep. I want to show you the, here we go. Okay, so, but I wanted to go back to we're going to give you the website address. So the website is, and we'll have that up there, but for this particular moment, what I would like to do is introduce you to Lee Mueller, who is the owner of Boyce Hydro, so that he can say a few words, and then we'll look through your chat to find questions that were specifically for Lee so that he can answer them. And we're going to unmute you here in a minute, Lee. Sorry for the delays. It's me. I wonder why. Lee, are you muted? Do you have yourself muted, or? So it looks like we can't control it. There we go. There we go. You're good to go.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. First, I want to say I'm very impressed with the presentation that's been given thus far. It's very thorough, very well thought out, and most impressive. I'd also like to let all of the Secord property owners understand that Boyce Hydro has the same objective in mind as I believe all the property owners have, which is to get the lake back up, to get the dam back into operation. I've explained to FERC for weeks now that there really is no reason for the Secord Dam to not be in operation. It has been inspected, and frankly, the things that were brought up in the inspection report as items that needed to be dealt with on a near-term basis are items that we already knew about from prior in-depth inspections, and some of the items were scheduled to be constructed or dealt with by us this summer. I am fearful that FERC is of the mind that they're going to hold the whole Secord and Smallwood hostage to the bigger picture of who is actually going to own the dams in the future. FERC has had the clear impression for at least, I would say 9 months now, that Four Lakes is going to be, it would be the new owner by contract, and Four Lakes was bringing in their own engineers to essentially take over all of the engineering decisions, and that the plans that Boyce Hydro had prepared or was preparing in the past to make improvements to both Smallwood and Secord, those plans would be abandoned, and the concepts that the Four Lakes Task Force engineers wanted, their ideas would be the ideas that would be presented, and in fact, for Secord were presented a few months ago, in particular for the the auxiliary spillway. My point is that Boyce has the ability to proceed with the construction that's necessary to satisfy FERC. We just don't have the funds to do it. So if you all are successful in your efforts to unwind things from Four Lakes, I think that you will find a very cooperative partner with Boyce Hydro, and we certainly believe that there's no reason why the water levels at Secord and Secord and Smallwood should not be brought up as soon as we can obtain permits from FERC and from the DEQ. Or I call them the DEQs. Some other people refer to it as Eagle, but we really do have the ability to do the relatively small construction projects that should be done in the near future, and then that would allow the dams to go back into operation and refill the lakes. So I fear at this point that FERC is very nervous and concerned because they see that there's a battle with Four Lakes in their efforts to obtain ownership, and they're not quite sure what to do. So I believe that if FERC does see that there is a strong group at Secord as well as at Smallwood that genuinely intends to secure the future of their, if you will, their dams financially, I think that FERC will then relent and allow Boyce Hydro to proceed with the relatively small construction projects that it could do in a matter of weeks if it had the permission from FERC and from the DEQ.
Michelle, you have questions perhaps for Mr. Mueller from the audience that you could share, or?
Yes, I have a question, which is a reasonable question. If Boyce Hydro currently owns the dams, the question that I've seen often is sitting here again, is you as the company have been making money on those dams. Why are you unable to have the money available to maintain the dams versus us trying to pay for those expenses?
That's a good question, and it's based on a false premise. The false premise is that there has been a profit made from operating the four dams during the last 12 years. I'm more than happy to share confidential tax returns with Christine and a select group of people to demonstrate that Boyce Hydro, if you will, I'll just use that as the general term, Boyce Hydro has not made a profit. We can demonstrate that we have invested in excess of $6 million since, I'm going to say, at least 2010 in the projects, and we now have it broken down per dam, if you will. We've invested a tremendous amount of money into these projects. There has not been a profit made. We borrowed a great deal of money in 2014 in order to put a new turbine in the Sanford project and put in all new electrical switchgear and to rewind one of the generators. That was approximately a $3.5 million undertaking. And the loan that we got, we thought it was a pretty good deal at the time, but turns out it's a fairly expensive loan. So we simply have not made a profit. It's not been there. The other thing I have to point out is that the dams that were formerly known as the Wolverine dams have been under a contract with Consumers Energy since 1923. That contract has limited the amount of money that Wolverine, now Boyce, could be paid for its electricity. And by contrast, we can demonstrate that these 4 dams have been paid less for their electricity than any other independent hydro project in the state of Michigan, including the hydro project that the city of Beaverton owns. That's a verifiable fact. 5 years ago, I started a small group of hydro owners to see if we couldn't get consumers to do something about our rates. I knew 5 years ago that consumers, because they told me they didn't intend to renew our contract after 2022. It took 5 years to get consumers to the point of negotiating a new 20-year contract for all of the, we're referred to as the IPPC, the Independent Power Producers Coalition. We finally got consumers to agree to a new 20-year contract for all of us at better rates, certainly better rates for Boyce, that would have a 1% per year escalation of one part of the contract. So armed with that, I was in a position to be able to borrow funds from our current lender to make some of the improvements that we intended to make. Unfortunately, we're not in that position anymore, given what's happened to Edenville. So we haven't been making money. Our rates have been very low. We now have the prospects moving forward to have better rates, and with some help from the community, these certainly Secord and Smallwood can be put in a condition that will basically satisfy or pacify FERC, and there could be a long 20-year operation that should be stable.
Michelle, before you ask the next question, let me mute everyone and then I will unmute. Just 1 second, sorry. We're having, I guess people are saying that others are talking over. 1 second, hold on. This is a big group. Not that I am a Zoom master, but we're still trying to unmute her, to mute everyone. I just won't do it. We had some, when they were trying to listen to Lee, people say that there was some talking over.
Okay, can you hear me?
Right? Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We want to unmute Lee again. So what is going on here? Lee, you haven't muted yourself, have you? Yes. Okay, good. Okay. All right. I think that's the best we can do. Mark, let me know again if you're. How does it sound now? Okay, let me know again, Mark, if you're hearing that. Michelle, do you have another question for Mr. Mueller?
Yes, of course, we'll have some criticism of his response and, you know, why didn't you plan better? Why did you get into the business, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, we can't go backwards. We need to go forward. This complaining about his business model and such, yes, it's a problem, but we are where we're at, and we need to find a solution so that we have our lake back. And so we need some questions that Mr. Mueller can answer for us. And one of them is, there is concern about the lawsuits. And one question is, do you have significant insurance on the dams at this point and prepared for these lawsuits? Or will you end up in a bankruptcy situation if we, under a government SAD, move forward to purchase the dams or lease the dams from you? Where does that leave us in the lawsuits?
Well, needless to say, we have attorneys who are handling that situation. I don't have answers as to how that's all going to turn out. We believe that ultimately let's put it this way. We know that Boyce Hydro has not acted irresponsibly. The newspapers react to misinformation, and I know what the facts are. Our consultants know what the facts are. So we're going to have to let that play out in the legal process. I believe that Boyce is in a position to be able to be a cooperative partner with local property owners who want to work together to keep Secord and Sanford in operation and to restore the lakes very as quickly as FERC and the DEQ will issue permits for the relatively minor construction projects that should be undertaken.
So another question is, you've written to FERC, you've requested that the water level be brought up. Have you heard anything back from FERC on that?
I haven't exactly asked that the water level be brought back up. What I've done is I've supplied the Secord and the Smallwood inspection reports to FERC, and contained in those reports are recommendations by the engineers that did the inspection. The recommendations included recommendations for what should be done immediately and what should be done over a longer period of time. So the recommendations for immediate construction, as I've said, are relatively minor. There's some concrete work that we need to do, some retaining walls that got literally in the floods. So we need to rebuild a retaining wall at Smallwood, and we have a known hole in a wall literally below the water line at Secord that's been there for years, frankly. Those are that hole needs to be taken care of, dealt with, and that's something that we knew about more than 5 years ago, and we had it on a schedule to make those repairs. In fact, it was intended to do it this summer. So repairing the hole in the wall at Secord, rebuilding the one retaining wall at Smallwood are the two projects that need to be done and can be done in short order once we obtain permits to do that work. And when that's done, there's no reason why Secord and Smallwood can't be brought back to normal operation. But I have not specifically written to FERC and said, will you allow us to bring the water up? The process that we've gone through is with the inspection reports. So they pretty much speak for themselves. And we don't know how long it's going to take FERC to review them. Typically, it takes them quite a while. I imagine they are sensitive to the community concerns about the absence of the impoundments being at normal levels. So they probably, even for FERC, they're probably going to be motivated to act a little more quickly than they typically do.
Michelle, you're muted. Do you have any, Michelle, we can't hear you. You have to, I don't think, you have to unmute yourself, but I'll try here. Yeah, try to, there you go. There you go. I'm sorry. Start over.
Yes, I was muting because people were getting some feedback, so I thought I'd
Right. No, that's
yeah. So lots of questions about, you know, funding, purchasing, leasing. I guess the most
so those we can't answer those.
answer it.
There has to be a decision to move forward, so we're not gonna.
Yeah.
We can't answer that on this today. We don't have enough information, but specific to Lee.
Yes.
And there were some questions about whether or not he has any idea of how much the costs of these repairs are in the inspection report. Do you have any idea, Lee, to give the audience sort of an idea about the critical repairs that are necessary just to allow us to resume and fill up our lake? That's what we want.
Am I still muted or not?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Rough guess would be about $30,000.
Okay. All right. Any other questions you see there, Michelle, right now that we can ask? We can always ask later by way of chat. We're keeping all of these questions, everybody, in a document, so we will address them to you, and we'll try to find the answers, but it's going to take some time.
Kelly had a good question, and maybe I missed it while Lee was speaking. Is the report which was sent to FERC a final report or a proposed?
It's the final inspection report.
Okay. It does not appear that we have any specific questions for Lee at this point. It seems as if everyone is concerned about, you know, whether we'll purchase, lease, what is the price, what is the
too early. I mean, we're not there yet. Yeah, but you know, we'll explore it. Yeah,
good questions.
Yes, absolutely. So, thank you, Lee, for joining us today. And thank you, Michelle. So I'm hoping these are kind of what we've identified as our next steps. And it's, okay, right, that one. That's okay. I'll just go down. Here we go. Can they see that? No, they can't because I didn't share it.
No.
And we are going to go to share my screen, and here we are. Almost. Here we are. Next steps. What you can do, and we've talked about this already. So you need to talk to your Secord neighbors. Do this by phone, and keep in mind there's a lot of people around on this video, but it's going to be available to them. Do this in person with social distancing. We can't use Facebook anymore. Pick up the phone. Reach out to your county commissioners. Accumulate additional questions, and like I said, we're going to put the chat. We are going to save the chat. And the organization needs a board. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us here today. The recording and this PowerPoint presentation will be available on the website to download in a few hours. And that is the website address, Secord Strong.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below.
As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.